need to know, is he not actually sick? Is he just, like, really fucking horny? Is that what the...
Yeah,
okay.
of course. Yeah.
Okay.
It's got the love sickness.
Okay.
Konnichiwa, it's your favorite Fukushine, and I'm here with...
Hi, I'm HandsomeEvans. You can follow me on Twitter. We're going to start doing YouTube Let's Plays together on the... What's the name of the channel again?
I think we settled on Screen Lords.
Screen Lords,
yeah.
That's right. But today, what are we doing, Ryan?
We're going to be reading some Jojo yaoi fanfics.
Fuck, yes we are.
We're looking at a cursed image of Jotaro smiling surrounded by hearts.
Alright, the name of this one is Fever. We're starting with the intro. Do you want me to do that, or do you want...
You can read it.
Oh, jeez. Where to start? This is my first book that I'll be writing here. I'm very excited and have infinite ideas on what to write. Sorry if my work isn't very fancy or proper. I tried, okay?
It's yaoi.
Say, I don't want proper yaoi.
Yeah, I don't want my proper yaoi.
I do not own any other characters that are used and or mentioned in this work.
This is
they
all
rightfully
caps
belong
and
to the
bold.
original creator. I've never seen his first name. Araki, from his manga series
Hirohiko.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I digitally drew the cover for this story only. Please do not use it. Enjoy. And now continue reading to the next part. All right.
So this is Monday, chapter 1 Monday.
Title card.
Yeah. 3:30 p.m.
It's 3:30 in the afternoon, and the school bell just rang. Students from all over the school are excited and eager to get to their homes. Kakyoin, too, was eager to get home to play his new video game he bought from the store that other day. He had planned to play it for the whole week. Suddenly, he received a phone call from his pocket, making him jolt from surprise. He wasn't expecting a call just after school, so it made him question himself more. His head was already filled with only one question already. Where was Jotaro?
Alright. Before we continue.
Am I calculating?
Sure.
Okay. Mushy mush. Kakyoin asked as he pulled his phone out, immediately answering it, without even looking to see who had called him. Although right from the first sound of their voice, he immediately knew who it was. And that's
Kakyoin!
You get to be Holly.
It's me, Holly.
It's me!
It's me, Holly. World's worst stand user. Jotaro's mom, Holly replied, relieved that Kakyoin had answered so quickly. Unfortunately, before he could continue, he could ask how she was.
You're so bad at reading.
I'm so bad at reading. How she
do
was.
A whole channel around visual novels.
Before I could ask how she was, she continued, "Could you do me a favor? I'm in New York visiting my father, Joseph. However, right after the day I left, Jotaro called me and said that he wasn't feeling well. Could you go check on him for me?" Without a second thought, Kakyoin agreed and hung up. As much as he wanted to play a new game, he was more worried about Jotaro and began to walk away.
Kakyoin arrived to his car and began to drive to Jotaro's huge household, admiring the view from the car. Before getting out, as he did, he locked the car and walked to the house. A minute or two later, he arrived at Jotaro's room and knocked twice. No answer. He knocked again.
That's gonna pick up.
No answer. With worry, Kakyoin slid the doors slowly to the side, calling out Jotaro's name, only to see him sleeping on the floor in his futon. He walked closer to him and sat down with his knees touching the ground and his foot behind his butt. He hovered his hand to try and shake Jotaro to wake up. He received an annoyed groan in return. "Wake up, Jotaro," Kakyoin said softly as Jotaro slowly opened his eyes to see his red-haired friend.
Kakyoin? Jotaro questioned, trying to set himself up, scratching his eyes. "Why are you here?" he queried, now looking around his room with his tired eyes, as if he forgot where he was.
"Your mother called me to check up on you. She told me that you weren't feeling well," Kakyoin answered. He hovered his hand again, but to touch Jotaro's forehead. It was very hot, and not just that, but Jotaro's face turned red, and it seemed as if he was going to faint or pass out. "Your forehead is hot. Let me go get a thermometer. I'll be right back."
Wait, Jotaro whispered, trying to get Kakyoin's attention. Sadly, he didn't hear him. He was already up and out of the room. Jotaro sighed. He indeed felt hot, so hot, felt like his body was going to melt. He didn't even remember it being this bad when he called his mom earlier. Wait, what time is it? As he asked himself that, Kakyoin came back with the thermometer in hand.
"All right, Jotaro, open your mouth and raise your tongue." Jotaro obeyed and did what he was told. Kakyoin slid the... "Open, Jotaro!" the tip of the thermometer under his tongue. Now automatically, Jotaro closes his mouth. A few seconds later, there was a little ding sound from the thermometer, and he opened up his mouth again for Kakyoin to take the thermometer out. Kakyoin looked at the temperature, but his face carried out a confused expression. It says your temperature is 88.6 Fahrenheit? I think this thermometer might be broken or something. He spoke as he began looking around at the thermometer to see anything broken. I'll buy a new one tomorrow when I get out of school. I guess for now, just rest or head back to sleep, and I'll make some chicken soup for you, okay? There. Before Jotaro could even get the chance to ask Kakyoin the time, or when he got there, or anything, he left and slid the door shut, making Jotaro question himself more and more. He felt so hot all over his body. His face burned the most. He felt his cheeks and ears burned. As he tried to head back to sleep for what seemed like forever, he couldn't. So Jotaro decided to head to the bathroom and stood up, probably too quickly, because his head started getting dizzy, making his vision a bit fuzzy for a minute. Slowly, he walked to the door, sliding it, making his way to the bathroom as planned. Take over, Ryan.
Arriving to the bathroom was much more of a challenge than he could have imagined it would have been. It had an incredibly tough time walking to get there. Even standing up just to take a piss, his arms felt so weak. So, brushing his teeth took way longer than it usually takes. Of course, he then tried splashing water on his face with some cold water to cool down the heat from his face. Unfortunately, it didn't do much but freeze his face for a few seconds before it was overwhelmed by the heat again. How cold is the Japanese water? Jotaro then didn't know what to do now. He didn't felt anywhere close to tiredness.
It's not proper, Ryan.
Yeah, not proper. Even though his body felt weak and his eyes hurt, before he could debate if he should go back to sleep, he smelled a swift of something
delicious.
And immediately his stomach growled. Immediately his decision was made, and Jotaro started heading his way to the kitchen.
Oh, and Kakyoin back. As he entered the kitchen, As he entered the kitchen, he sees Kakyoin by the stove, pouring something into a bowl. Oh, Jotaro! Kakyoin called out, surprised by his unexpected presence. You're just in time. I just finished chicken soup for you. Come, sit down.
Come.
Without a word, he obeyed, took a seat, and waited patiently. A few minutes passed, and he was served by an incredible strong stench of chicken soup. He immediately dined in, forgetting about his tired body, only to be overwhelmed by the incredible, delicious taste. It was amazing! Hell, he didn't know Kakyoin was such a great cook. Do you like it? Kakyoin asked as he decided to take a seat next to Jotaro.
Fucking hell yeah, it's so good, he replied, stuffing his face full of soup, already halfway finished. As much as he knew he shouldn't be eating quickly, but he couldn't help it.
Oh, I'm glad. It's been a while since I made chicken soup, so I feared that it would have tasted a bit off. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Kakyoin said cheerfully with a bright smile across his face. For some reason, Jotaro felt a slight ache in his chest. Was his stomach hurting from eating too fast or something? Although when he stared at Kakyoin's smile, his face began to heat up. Kakyoin noticed and became worried. Are you okay? Is the chicken soup too hot?
Or dysentery? I'm fine, don't worry. Jotaro interjected quickly, hoping Kakyoin hadn't noticed his stuttering. I thought he was going to say slurring. I'm like, slurring his words, bro. Chicken soup is great, thank you. He complimented, continuing to finish the bowl.
Oh, alright. Well, I'll need to be heading home now. I gotta finish some homework and a writing essay for English. Though, before I leave, Kakyoin got up from where he was sitting and walked over to where it seemed to be where he left his school bag. Jotaro instantly was puzzled. Was Kakyoin giving him some sort of get-well gift, or today's homework? Or, before he could finish his thoughts, a load of envelopes were splattered onto the table. Here are all the letters your lovely lady fans decided to write for you today, he exclaimed with a slight smug on his face, although he looked as if he was more annoyed than happy.
Jotaro did indeed felt awful. That all the girls at school would write him letters, but it was Kakyoin who would receive them to deliver it to him, since the girls were scared to give them to him in person.
They all went crazy. No, that's Kakyoin. Okay. It's Kakyoin.
I see.
I'm Kakyoin.
Sorry.
A dream come true. They all went crazy and you didn't come to school today. Some are still love notes, while most are just asking if you were well. You better read them all, okay? Kakyoin said, getting ready to leave.
Thanks. Was all Jotaro could say. Like hell he didn't want to read them all. There were more and more than there ever was regularly. He grabbed one anyway, read it ready to read them, but his thoughts went empty. He looked up to see Kakyoin looking into his bag to find more letters. He might have missed. "Hey, Kakyoin," he called, getting a hum for a response, grabbing his attention. "Are you coming back tomorrow?"
"Do you want me to?" Kakyoin asked, surprised by the question. He never expected a question like this from the one and only Jotaro. It seemed off. You don't usually ask questions like that. Immediately Jotaro knew what he meant and felt embarrassed. "But sure, I don't want you starving here or not being treated well. I'll come visit you for the whole week. Don't worry about it," Kakyoin finished, leaving a bright smile from before again. With that, he left the house, got into his car, and went home. On the other hand, Jotaro, he didn't know what was happening to his stomach. It ached, but in a good way. He liked it. And for some reason, felt so excited to see Kakyoin again tomorrow.
Damn right I did.
Next part. All right.
Tuesday.
3:30 p.m. It's 3:30 in the afternoon again, and the school bell rang. Kakyoin had just finished for the day and was headed to his car.
Excuse me, Nanaroki-kun?"
The young female voice was heard from behind. Kakyoin turned to see who it was, of course. She was just another sophomore student. Or junior, was it?
Could you deliver this to Jotaro?"
Oh! She asked, handing Kakyoin an envelope letter. Kakyoin sighed, but nevertheless agreed to the girl's request, leaving her thanking him as she shyly ran off.
Arigato.
The whole day has been so tiring for him. Ever since school started, the whole day... Oh, fuck, I
don't know where you're at now.
Ever since school started, no like hell before school started. Girls from all over went up to him, asking him about Jotaro, asking favors, and so much more annoying requests. He was tired. Though no matter what, he just can't say no to a girl who seems to be in love. As much as it may seem overwhelming overreacting, he admires their bravely to ask. It always gets to him. It's not proper. So Kakyoin finally got inside his car. He headed straight to the store to buy a thermometer like he said he would yesterday. Several minutes passed arriving to the store, and several more to Jotaro's house. It's almost 4:30 already when he arrived. Time sure does fly. "Jotaro, I'm back!" Kakyoin called out as he took off his shoes, before heading his way to Jotaro's room. Long holding a small bag that carried the new bought thermometer and a medication he thought might help. "Jotaro?" he called again, knocking on Jotaro's door twice. Then entering, Jotaro was laid on his futon like yesterday, but instead he was shifting right to left, aggressively. Jotaro, wake up!" Kakyoin yelled, shaking Jotaro's body to wake him up. It worked successfully, although Jotaro was covered in sweat. It seemed like his fever might have gotten worse. "Are you alright?" Kakyoin asked, with a worried expression on his face.
Kakyoin? Jotaro managed to croak out before trying to sit up. Trying to slit up, coughing slightly. He opened his eyes desperately to see his friend. "Hey," he said with a calm tone in his voice, trying to hide his body shaking.
"Jotaro, what happened? Are you alright? How's your head? Your body?" he continually asking,
neck,
cupping
your back, your pussy, and your
cupping
crack.
his hands on Jotaro's face, which got red very quickly. "Open your mouth. I bought a new thermometer." At least your breath smells nice. Jotaro obeyed, and Kakyoin put in the thermometer. After a small ding sound was made, he checked the temperature desperately. This time the temperature was 101.5 Fahrenheit. "Thank goodness this one works, but it's pretty high." Kakyoin showed the temperature to Jotaro for him to see, but his eyes were fuzzy, so he saw 707.8 instead.
I'm dead.
Confused if he knew how temperature worked. "I bought some medicine that might help you. I'll go get you some water."
Okay. Jotaro replied, scratching his tired eyes. What the hell happened? He had such a weird dream, although he felt like he missed it and wanted to return to the dream. He felt his face heat up from the thought and felt something weird under his pants. Was he getting hard out of nowhere, Or was it because of the dream he had? He could only remember tiny fragments, which let him stumped on actually remembering it. Confusion at this point just consumed him.
Moments later, Kakyoin arrived with a cold glass of water and gently handed it over to Jotaro. Here, have this medication I bought. It's supposed to get rid the fever you have, he said as he handed Jotaro a small pill into his hand. Jotaro chugged the glass, along swallowing the pill he had been given. Are you feeling better now? Kakyoin asked, with a concerned tone in his voice as he stared at Jotaro with a worrying expression. He had no idea how much he truly cared about Jotaro until now. After what he just witnessed, he felt scared that his fever might be getting worse. With negative thoughts slowly overwhelming him, he could feel tears about to pour. However, he did his best to hold them back. He even looked away a bit, so Jotaro hadn't noticed. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit better, thanks. Jotaro replied as he finished drinking a glass of cold water.
Yeah, I'm good, bro.
Yeah, I'm good. What's up? That's when he noticed Kakyoin's weird expression. Are you alright? He softly asked, as he gently grabbed Kakyoin's cheek with his hands.
Gently!
That's as gentle as Jotaro knows. Turning him to look at him. Jotaro is now concerned for his friend. Did he actually frighten him?
You have such large hands.
Did I scare you? Sorry, I swear I'm fine now. Not even a second later, he felt something wet on his thumb.
What?
That's when he realized Kakyoin couldn't hold it in anymore. I was hoping. I began to cry. Hey. Whoa. Whoa. It's okay, I'm fine. Quickly, cupping his other hand on Kakyoin's cheeks to brush away the tears.
Oh god, that hurts. I'm just a little uwu baby boy, stop it.
Brushing away the tears on the other side of his face.
Yeah. Sorry. Guess I was scared that something
Sorry,
bad had happened.
in my eye.
Fucking hurt, bro. Just scared that something bad had happened to you. He said, trying to hide his face, but failed when Jotaro brought Kakyoin closer to him, almost forming a hug. What happened, though? Did you have a bad dream or something? You were shaking and turning around like crazy.
Jotaro was puzzled. Was that what frightened Kakyoin? He didn't really recall having a nightmare or anything related to that. Then again, he was sweating all over. Instead of his dream, seemed some sort of pleasure that he seemed to love and crave. Now he can't remember the feeling anymore, and it stuck on what to respond. As much as he could tell a lie, he just couldn't get himself to do it. Not to Kakyoin. Never to Kakyoin.
Always to Kakyoin.
Always lie to Kakyoin. It wasn't really a nightmare, to be frank. I can't really remember the dream at all, or what happened.
Are you serious? Kakyoin shocked at what he was hearing. He doubted that Jotaro was lying to him, but it just wouldn't make sense. Are you sure? He queried. You really don't recall anything? Even something small? He added, begging Jotaro to remember at least something.
Look, it's not small, okay? Well, Jotaro began starting to feel embarrassed. When I woke up, I do remember feeling a boner. He was interrupted by a ringing phone. Kakyoin jolted from surprise. He quickly realized it was his phone that was ringing.
I do remember horny.
Mush. Horny.
Mushy mush, he said. Only then he was reminded he had an appointment. His mother had called him to remind him in case he might have forgotten. A minute or two passed until Kakyoin hang up. I'm sorry, Jotaro, but I have to go now. I'll be back in an hour or two to make you something to eat before the day is over, alright? Without giving Jotaro a chance to say something, it was already too late. Jotaro was then left alone, by himself. Only his thoughts for company, only it wasn't a good one. He felt overwhelmed with confusion as to why Kakyoin had to leave so soon as he tried to sleep to pass the time. Till Kakyoin comes back, his dreams from earlier came back. I burped a little bit at the end.
It's me.
Jotaro, a calming, soft voice spoke. He was what seemed to be above of someone else's body. He couldn't exactly recognize the person since his vision seemed to be blurry. He was also unable to make out anything that surrounded him. It was so dark. Where was he? I want you, please. It spoke again, causing Jotaro's body to shiver. His breath began to become heavy along with his body temperature, rising uncontrollably. He felt so hot everywhere in his body. He even tried his best to breathe properly, but unfortunately it was a failure. His body became more heated and heated by the second. The anonymous figure then placed both their hands on Jotaro's cheeks. Jotaro, it said, lowering Jotaro's head closer to their face. Everything and everywhere was pitch black now until he felt something touched his lips. It tasted like cherry. I get that. That's a reference. Rhyme, clap, clap. I get that reference. Clap. 7:12 p.m. Jotaro, wake up! It's a phone for you, Jotaro! Jotaro immediately, by the aggressive shake he was given, come down to the kitchen. I'll wait for you. Catcoin stood where he was to make his way to the door. Oh, and please don't take long. The broth will get cold, he added, leaving Jotaro by himself again. Zero.
As he opened his eyes?
Yeah.
As he opened his eyes, he couldn't help but brush his lips. Was that all really a dream? He asked himself. It felt so real. No, of course it wasn't. Why would it be? Quickly brushing off the thoughts, Jotaro got up and made his way to the kitchen, boner just bouncing everywhere. As he did, there was a bowl of broth ready for him on the table, along with more envelope letters from the girls at school. He assumed Jotaro sighed.
No, it says sighed.
It says sighed. I know how I read it. Jotaro sighed. Yeah, he sighed. All right, now
and decided to read them later.
I don't know where I went.
Hell, he wasn't even done reading the ones yesterday since he got bored and went to sleep right away after having forced the chicken soup Catcoin made him last night. I hope you enjoyed the broth. Let me know if you need anything else, Catcoin said, handing Jotaro another letter he found on the pile. Left the medication I gave you earlier by the sink. Make sure to take one before heading to bed, okay? Jotaro understood, nodding. All right, I'm heading back home. All right, I'm heading back home now. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, Jotaro. Catcoin waved goodbye with a bright smile across his face. Bye!
Bye, buddy.
Without even noticing, Jotaro stared at his lips as if he wanted to... What was he thinking? Catcoin is his best friend. He would never do that. Right?
Please?
I need to know, is he not actually sick? Is he just, like, really fucking horny? Is that what the...
Yeah,
okay.
of course. Yeah.
Okay.
He's got the love sickness.
Okay. All right. Wednesday, part 1.
It's 8:15 in the morning.
Jotaro had woken up very early today. Sadly for him, he couldn't do anything but rest and wishing to get better quickly. His fever's now beginning to drive Jotaro insane, even though it's now the 3rd day. It's just the heat, as most people would think. But it was also his dreams, too. He kept getting hard without knowing exactly why. Alright, go ahead. This is your part of the chapter. You're Jotaro.
Jotaro stood up, scratching his tired eyes. This heat wasn't as bad as it was yesterday. And he wasn't sweating too much. Perhaps it might have been the medication Catcoin brought him. Jotaro thought as he began to stand up, heading to the bathroom. Luckily, it wasn't as bad as Monday was, when he struggled to walk. Of course, his body still felt weak, so making his way up still a slow process. He took his piss, brushed his teeth, jerked himself off, and made his way to the kitchen. Fortunately, he was just smart enough not to finish all of the broth Catcoin made for him yesterday. Jotaro grabbed a bowl, poured some of the leftovers, and heated it up in the microwave. He wasn't going to risk getting his house on fire using the stove.
Same.
Several minutes later, he got seconds and then took his medication for the morning. As Jotaro decided to head back to his room to sleep, he just remembered his phone. He hadn't used it since Monday morning.
My phone. Wait, hold on. Doesn't this take place in like the 90s?
It's real early 90s if it is.
But they're cell phones, though.
Yes.
Okay. It's a
shitty flip phone.
It just hit me. Okay.
How in the world did he miss that? Oh, wait, where was I?
He hadn't used it since Monday morning to call his mom.
He hadn't used it since Monday morning to call his mom. It didn't take long to find. It was by his futon, obviously. How in the world did he miss it? Or even forgot about it? Jotaro turned it on, unlocking it and checking his messages. He only missed a few texts from his mom, which he quickly replied, confirming he was alright. Other than that, there wasn't much left to go through social media for a little.
No,
okay, yeah, so it's in 2010. About 15 minutes passed till Jotaro decided to take a nap and wake up when Catcoin returns. Right at the thought of him, he felt
his face.
He felt his face flushed. Why on earth is my face heating up? Puzzled, Jotaro tried his best to ignore it and fall asleep. Unfortunately...
Not gay!
Fucking just doing reps. Just bench pressing Star Platinum. It got worse. And it was instantly reminded by the dream kiss he had yesterday. He couldn't help but touch his lips again. From thought, the dream was dark and still fuzzy. But he could still remember the feeling of it. Happening. As much as he hated to admit it, he liked it. The whole day ended up feeling longer than it usually was. Minutes passed by feeling like hours, and had gone by instead. Jotaro was bored and lonely.
So lonely.
So lonely. His bench press just wasn't doing it anymore. He walked to see Kakyoin. He wanted to see a Kakyoin already. He eagerly checked the time on his phone and see it was only 9:22. It wasn't even 10 yet. It felt like it was 2 in the afternoon already.
9:25 a.m. It was 9:25, and Kakyoin's next class just started. It was history, so he wasn't very much paying attention since the teacher was boring and didn't give out much homework. Kakyoin sat by the window, gazing out at the school's outside yard. He liked to admire the view, maybe too much. It was a nice warm day, and the trees were beginning to turn into shades of green colors.
Fucking teats.
There was an SST class doing push-ups and squats. As Kakyoin enjoyed viewing outside, his thoughts ended up wandering around to Jojo. He felt puzzled, but then began wondering how lucky he was to be sleeping right about now, instead of concentrating at school. That is, however, Kakyoin began to worry if perhaps what happened yesterday with Jotaro's dream would happen again. He immediately shook away the thought, fearing it might start to break him down during class. He didn't want to make a scene. Sadly, the thought of Jotaro didn't disappear. Why on earth should I be thinking about him? This is just weird, Kakyoin thought, trying his best to think of other things. Something more important for that matter. But it just didn't disappear. Now he began thinking more about him by the second. Now Kakyoin was really wishing for the class to end quickly. He could feel his face heat up, quickly confusing Kakyoin. Why am I getting heated up for? This room isn't even that hot, Kakyoin said to himself, trying to relax and cool down.
He grabbed his notebook and hit his boner as he ran out of math class.
Instead of what he wanted, it was the opposite. His face got more red. The thought of Jotaro, scenes from Monday and yesterday were replaying in his head like some weird movie. He couldn't help but having the thought of kissing Jotaro. No! I can't! He shouted in his head. We're best friends and we're both...
Kakyoin?
Kakyoin jolted from the call of his name, realizing the voice belonged to his history teacher. Was he supposed to answer some trivia question? Or to pass out worksheets?
Are you alright? The teacher queried. Your face is very red. Are you sick? Please go to the nurse's office.
That went well the first time. With a worried expression as the other students in the class began eyeing Kakyoin in curiosity. Kakyoin did as he was told immediately, avoiding eye contact with anyone on his way out. He couldn't help but touch his face the whole time. His face was burning up more and more just from thinking of Jotaro. He began to look even more admiring and more attractive in Kakyoin's thoughts. No more! Go away! Can't catch me, gay thoughts! Kakyoin
running too quickly. Emerald
but it
splash.
disobeyed nonetheless. Was he beginning to like Was he beginning
You think that's
to
what he yells
like...
when he comes? Emerald splash.
Was he beginning to like Jotaro out of his thoughts? That wasn't English.
This is English.
He wouldn't accept it. He couldn't. If Jotaro knew, Kakyoin whispered. His thoughts went automatically empty. He stood frozen. This isn't true, he said to himself, unbelieving his attraction to Jotaro. Although as he made his destination to the nurse's office, she was by the doorway entrance. Oh, hello, Oh my!
Oh my!
Are you all right? The nurse said, worried, as she touched Kakyoin's forehead with her hand.
I thought she was gonna freak out because of a boner.
Dude, what the fuck?
Oh, hello.
Oh my, are you picking up a fever too, Kakyoin? I have to leave for a dentist appointment for today. Please just go home and rest for today. I know that I probably shouldn't let you off like this, but I don't want you getting any worse if it's serious, she said as she walked off quickly. Perhaps she was getting late, Kakyoin thought, as he headed his way to the bathroom nearby. He wanted to wash his face. He wanted to go back to class as if nothing had happened. Kakyoin arrived at the restrooms for men and walked inside. He was the only one there. Without hesitation, Kakyoin covered his heated face with cold water. slightly regretting it being too cold. He stood face to face
with the water in Japan.
He stood face to face with his reflection with the burning feeling almost gone. What should I do now? I can't just go home, but I could... Jotaro.
This is wrong.
This is wrong, he told himself, looking down at the sink. I can't fall for him. He'll hate me. What am I saying? I obviously don't like him, and I see him as an ordinary close friend. Handsome friend. Very strong friend. Very cute friend. Very attractive friend. Kakuin's face was beginning to burn up again, but this time he couldn't help but smile. The more he thought about Jotaro, the more he started to fall for him. He never went out with a girl before. He never actually had a crush on one either. From the rising, warming feeling in his chest, he began to slowly accept it. However, what would Jotaro think? What would he really be okay with his friend falling for him? Kakyoin then doubted Jotaro having feelings for men. There was just no way.
It checks out even in the show.
Without realizing the time, the school bell rang. Quickly checking the time, it was 10 o'clock. Math class. He could just ignore the nurse's request of going home, but after having talks about Jotaro, he couldn't bear having to wait another 5 hours. He'll just be stuck in his thoughts for the whole day, until school ended. As much as his feelings were very sudden and quick, Kakyoin decided this was the perfect time to check if his feelings were real. Perhaps it's just a phase I'm going through, he thought, before leaving the restroom to go into the parking lot. Unlocking the car doors, Kakyoin got into... I can't talk, man. Unlocking the car doors, Kakyoin got in his car and drove to Jotaro's house. I should get something for him, he thought as he was stopped by a red light. He looked around his surroundings for a store nearby, only to find a flower shop. I could buy him get well flowers. The light switched to green.
That's hetero.
That's the straightest option.
That's the straightest option I can think of.
Took a turn and parked by the flower shop. To be fair, I'd buy you some get well flowers.
I mean, yeah. You could buy me some homosexual flowers for all I care. I'll still take them later.
He walked inside the store, only to be greeted with strong stenches of flowers. He was then later greeted by a worker, and decided to browse around the shop. How have I not been here before? The flowers here are gorgeous, Kakyoin said to himself, admiring the beautiful flowers.
They got petunias, they got lilies, they got holly dead on the floor because she can't control the stand.
They were big, small, colorful, lively, soft, rough.
Yeah, they were.
Just like...
a cat penis.
A flower. Hello. Could I be able to give out a helping hand? One of the flower shop workers asked with open ears. He looked young and cheerful, and Kakyoin had seen him a few times around helping out the other customers. Ah, yes, hello. Do you know any good get-well-soon flowers? They're for a friend of mine who's sick. Kakyoin shyly asked the young man. Yes, of course. Our best ones right now is our Endless Summer Sunflower Bouquet. They're on a 50% off.
Can't beat that deal.
The young woman said, escorting Kakyoin to the sunflowers. With already a few people present there already.
He's a man.
It said... Oh, the young man said... I swore that said woman. You're dyslexic.
That's right.
This is rubbing off on me.
My inability to read out loud is wearing off.
Escorting Kakyoin to the sunflowers with already a few people present there already. I can get you a set if you like. Oh, that'll be wonderful. Thank you. Yes. Kakyoin accepted the request. The sunflowers were gorgeous, and he couldn't stop admiring their beautiful yellow petals. They looked like gold. A few minutes passed by and his sunflower bouquet was ready. Kakyoin paid, outstandingly shocked at the price.
It was still $300.
It was a really good offer. He said his thanks and left the shop with his new bought bouquet. The red hair was excited to give them to Jotaro.
The red
He
head.
couldn't wait. That says the red hair.
I know what it says.